Howdy, it's Kyle here with the Current, and today we're going to do a quick walkthrough of my new boat. New to me, not brand new, but I just recently purchased a Triton 18tx with a Suzuki DF115 SS motor on it. I plan to use this for some of my local tournaments, potentially some BFL tournaments, obviously fun fishing and getting out with my family. I am coming over from a 14-foot John boat with a 25-18 jet on it. So for me, this is a big step up, or a big change in general. I'm now equipped with a live well. I can now go over 40 miles an hour. Yeah, I can get from A to B a lot faster, go to a lot of different places, or at least expect my fishing trips to cover more ground, which for me, at least for largemouth bass fishing or striper fishing, it's crucial. The jet wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't big enough. It couldn't take any seas of any kind. I had bought it specifically to run rocky rivers, and this boat will take me more in the tidal section of the places that I'm fishing than the reservoirs and lakes nearby, and ideally, any tournaments that I decide to fish. So take you through a quick walkthrough of the boat, bow to stern, walk you through what I have now, and there will be some subsequent videos upcoming very soon, electronics specifically, with upgrades that I'll be doing. Yeah, things are coming together pretty quickly. I've had it for 3 weeks. I've fished multiple days on it already. Yesterday I fished a little club tournament, and it's performed really well. Handles great, does everything I was looking for, and more. All right, let's take a quick walkthrough. Before we do the walkthrough, I want to talk about why I ended up going with this boat. I had been looking for something new or different for the past 6-8 months, browsing on Facebook Marketplace, Boat Trader, boats.com, just looking for something new and doing my research through forums, Bass Boat Central, Reddit, and anywhere people talk about boats, to get an idea of a couple of different things. The first was the evaluation of glass versus aluminum. I'll tell you why I ended up going aluminum. Number one, my previous boat was aluminum. I have bumped, banged, beat that boat up to all hell. It was a river boat. It was intended to do that, but coming from that boat, I realized how, I'd say, I wouldn't call myself careless, but how much I am okay with bumping into a dock when I come in. With a glass boat, I'd be concerned that, the way that I treat boats, maybe in a couple of years if I'm fishing bigger tournaments and going places that, the water's rougher and I need to get places faster, I might consider a glass boat. But for now, the aluminum was the first decision I made. Size was another factor for me. You can see behind me, I have a garage. I have a standard 2.5 car garage, so it's about 22.5 feet in length and 106 inches door width. So my options weren't vast in terms of length and width. I had to get into it was a sweet spot for sure. So I went with anything under, most boats at 18 feet with a swing tongue were able to fit in the garage. This boat in particular when I swing the tongue in is about 20.5 feet in length, and width with the trailer is about 95 inches. So I have 10 inches total, so 5 inches on each side as I'm pulling the boat into the garage, and about 1.5 feet off the bow and stern. So split the difference, you know, I've got a couple inches in front of the boat, and I can almost walk around the back in the garage. So length was the next thing. Now that I had those two down, aluminum and length, I had 3 different boats in mind after doing my research. I was considering the Ranger RT 188P, and then the regular 188, the Xpress X18, and the Triton TX18. All 3 of those I could find used in my budget, the X18 being the caveat that there aren't a lot of used ones available. But my budget, I was looking to spend under 30K, and if I was spending 30K, it would have to be rigged out, ready to go. No, I mean, electronics were there, live scope, so on and so forth. But all 3 of those were, you know, right in the ballpark of that number used. So when this boat popped up, again, I'd been looking for 6 months, and between those 3 boats, I'd nailed down exactly what I wanted, you know, between those in the past, like 3 months before buying this. So I had started reaching out to people on Facebook Marketplace, getting considerations of, you know, price, distance from where I live to go pick something up. And this boat popped up about a month ago. It was end of July, and I talked to the guy. This thing was bare bones, 1 owner, garage kept, 100 hours on this Suzuki. It was 106 hours, just been serviced. I called the shop that he had it serviced. He bought it from them, and they gave it a clean report, talked me through all of the different services that he had been there for. Nothing to call out in general. So once I had that from them, it was pretty much a done deal. So fast forward to about mid-August, I went down to North Carolina. All right, we're back. Had to go put my kid down for a nap, and he is not always easy with my wife. But fast forward, mid-August, I go down to North Carolina to check this thing out after getting the clean bill of health from the shop that he had been taking it to and purchased it from. He let me do a test ride solo for, you know, as long as I wanted. The dude was super open about all of the history of the boat, why he was selling it. Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. I ran it through its paces, both the motor and the trolling motor, made sure everything felt fine, scanned the bottom of the hull, scanned the trailer, made sure everything was good. And from my perspective, it came back with my qualitative bill of health, my personal one, and the deal was done. I purchased it for about half of the budget that I had originally set out, and that allowed me to avoid financing. That was huge, honestly, because I was planning on putting about 50% down on a $30,000 boat and financing the rest of it, which it's not a ton of money, but I'd rather avoid financing always. So with this option, I was able to avoid that, but mind you, it came bare bones. It's a boat, a trailer, trolling motor, and that's it. There's no electronics, there's no gizmos or gadgets that a regular tournament rig would have. No poles, no nothing like that, no jack plate, not even hydraulic steering. So this thing is bare bones. Probably partial to why the price was what it was, but it was clearly lower than any other price I could find on an RT 188, a TX 18, or an X 18. So I jumped at the opportunity, and yeah, here we are about 3 or 4 weeks later after purchasing it, and like I mentioned, have been out multiple times. Yesterday I fished a tournament, a little club tournament with 18 boats on a little river nearby, and it fished great. Kept four fish in the live well. I could not find a fifth. And you know, again, point A to point B, easy to get there. Ran shallow. And unfortunately my trolling motor batteries died about 2 hours before it was over, but it's another story for another day. But one other thing I wanted to talk about on decision making, I have a V6 Toyota Tacoma 4x4 double cab long bed. It's a 2013. It has the towing package, but if I went any bigger than this boat or the 3 boats that I'd outlined, it's likely I would have needed a half-ton truck. With my truck, the V6 4.0, it pulls it pretty well. It's rated with the towing package for 6,200 pounds. This boat's less than half of that. There's a substantial effect on my fuel mileage, but to be expected. My other boat was maybe, I'd say, 800 pounds with the trailers, and this thing is probably hulls like 1,200, motor, I'm not sure, maybe 400, 300. Then you add in the trailer, another 800 or so pounds. We're at like 2,400. Fuel, trolling motor, we're probably at like 2,800 pounds. So it's back there, but it pulls it up hills. The brakes still work fine. So that was another consideration for me. So if you have a truck that's got or a truck or SUV that has a tow rating for 5,000 pounds, I'd suggest a boat in this size range. The 4x4 has already gotten me not out of situations, but made me feel more comfortable in situations where I may not feel so comfortable. Yesterday, the tournament we fished was at a very I call it old ramp. There's a pretty big dip in one of the sides of the ramps. It's a single dock, two drop-ins, one side for smaller boats, and I use that side, and there's a big old dip. Having four-wheel drive made me feel a lot more comfortable. So that was the evaluation. It was pretty much aluminum versus glass, then length. Price was obviously scenario in there, and then I narrowed it down to 3 boats based on live well, value over time, price range, layout, so on. And I ended up with the 2015 Triton 18tx with the Suzuki 115 sheep purrs. So we'll do the walkthrough now, bow to stern, and take you through what this boat's like. Let's do it. All right, we're starting off at the bow. First off, we have the swing tongue, which, as I mentioned, was a consideration when choosing the right boat to fit in my garage. This allows, this is probably from here to here, almost 2 feet. So the trailer without the swing tongue is about 22.5, and when you swing it in, it's about 20.5. So fits in my garage really well. Moving to the bow, this is a regular old V bottom aluminum rig. So the hull, it's in great shape. There's a couple of small little tiny dings, and paint's like, I wouldn't say it's in bad shape, but it's a 8-year-old boat. Up here we've got the 24-volt Minn Kota Fortrex. The guy bought it like a year and a half ago, so I mean, purrs, like I mentioned, trolling motor batteries, different story. It's 18, I want to say 18.8 in length total. Yeah, I mean, little nicks here and there, but those are all things that I looked at as I was evaluating the boat. It's a single axle trailer. This is the Triton trailer that it came with. I want to say the name of the manufacturer is Marine Master Trailers. It's a nice trailer. It does the trick. It's got the roller guides on here. The bearings were already greased. The axle feels fine. It's got these straps on the back, the roller here, lights all the way around. Yeah, so bow to stern, at least the hull wise, it looks really good aside for some small scrapes. Now we're at the stern. Again, as I mentioned, we've got the Suzuki DF115 SS. This is also a 2015. It came with the boat. Had 106 hours when I purchased it. I've probably put another 3 to 5 hours in the past 3 weeks at least. It does not have hydraulic steering. That's a downside for sure. You know, it's a little harder to steer when I'm really trying to crank a turn, but it's not the end of the world. It's fixated directly to the boat, so no hydraulic jack plate, no manual jack plate, nothing like that, bare bones. Yeah, and this is outside of the boat. Looks pretty darn good. She's in nice shape, and these will be changed to Virginia soon. Currently on a temporary registration, and that's her. That's the outside and the trailer. Alright, we're gonna move to the inside of the boat really quick and do a walkthrough of that, starting from the bow. First off, we've got the recessed trolling motor foot pedal. It comes with this on all of these boats, I want to say. The RT188 has the same thing, and I think the X18 had it as well. But this is a big advantage for sure. You got your spots for your pliers and your cutters, and you got a nice cup holder. You can also control your nav lights and your trim here, and then of course for your nav lights there, the trolling motor as we went over, and then the pedestal spot, and there's a single strap for rods. There wasn't one on this side, which I think is actually standard for these boats. They only come with the right side strap, so it's likely I'll be adding another one. Moving back, I'll show you in the hatches. These left and right hatches are identical. So for me, I usually carry 8 rods, and this holds 8 rods up to, I want to say 8.5 feet. I've got 8 rods in there now. They fit nicely. I don't have them in rod socks, but it's fine by me. And I do have 2 8-foot rods in there, and they fit fine. My swim bait rod and flipping stick is in there. There's also like a little sidewell compartment in there. I think you could probably see that. I have the pedestal in there, and then my nav lights. So that's that one. And then over here on the left, I'm using this for like towels, my jackets, my bibs, and it goes, don't know if you can see that, but it goes all the way to back to here. So it's a pretty decent size, well. Sorry. Same thing over here. It's the exact same size, just on the other side. I'm using this all for tackle, and excuse my mess again. Like I said, fished a tournament yesterday and didn't do great. I junk fished all day, so I was pulling crap in and out of there, and I haven't cleaned that bin up. I'll look to organize that thing a little better as I start to think a bit more about the interior. Moving back a little bit, you got the console. This is a fiberglass console. It's the only real glitter that you can see on the boat, so I wanted a glitter boat. I like glitter boats. I think as a kid I always wanted a Ranger or a Triton, and I ended up with a Triton, so that's kind of cool. But I loved the bass boat glitter. One of my bikes actually I bought because the color was green with some glitter in it. And as you can see, you know, the gauges, we got the speedo, we got the fuel gauge, trim, RPMs, temp, oil, and then a really high-tech graph, and then all your switches here: nav, bilge, live well, ACC, courtesy light, your dial here, and then you got a nice little cigarette lighter, and of course your throttle, kill switch. There is no hot foot. As I mentioned, we're talking bare bones here. Over here we got a little area for co-angler rods, or just extra rods. You got this little guy here where you can throw anything in there, typically scissors, you know, any type of tools. There's a really high-tech cup holder here. Need to get that thing fixed because that does not work. Another cup holder here. Excuse me. Cold beer. It's Labor Day Sunday, so drinking beer middle of the day, 2 p.m. And then under the seats you got storage. It's shallow, but able to keep my life jackets in there. And these are the OG seats. These are not reupholstered. They had no rips in them. The guy had, like I mentioned, kept it in the garage its whole life, so this thing is in pretty much pristine shape. And the seats are pretty comfortable, minus this thing. Not a huge fan of sitting back on that. That is metal. Moving back, we've got 2 wells on the outside. These are the same size, and thanks for viewing my trash. I've got ropes, and then that's my go box. There's a bunch of like first aid, tools, all kinds of stuff in there. Same thing on this side, more trash. Anchor, there's extra lights in there, my muffs, and some other miscellaneous BS. And you've got the live well, which needs to be cleaned out because looks like some fish threw up in there. Oh, fish threw up my worm. That's a 30-gallon live well. Yeah, 30 gallons. It's pretty sweet. So fishing those BFLs, I think 30 gallons should be okay. And then back into the engine well. Fuel tank. It's 21 gallons. Got a starting battery. 2 12 volts linked together to run the 24 volt, and then charger, bilge, and you got all your running wires into that pipe back there. Yeah, it's in pretty good shape. It's pretty clean back there. You know, you can tell there's bin water in there. Not a big deal, but it's not incredibly dirty, which is great. You know, it tells me a lot. And that's about it. Like I said, it's incredibly bare bones. It didn't come with electronics other than that depth finder, whatever you want to call it. It barely works. But for me, with the evaluation that I was making, this turned out to be the perfect boat so far. And soon to come, there will be some additions. Some things just came in the mail yesterday. There's more coming on Wednesday, and I will definitely be doing a video of what's to come next because it's pretty exciting, and it has to do with technology and yeah, there'll be that, and then more as it relates to that box back there. You might be able to guess what it is, and I'll give you a hint. Getting lithium batteries. I just bought a single lithium for the technology that I'm talking about, or that I'm teasing, and I'll be buying more lithiums for the trolling motor. So I'll be walking through that install, and it'll be coming very shortly. So as I mentioned, here's my new boat, Triton 18tx. I'll be fishing for fun, fishing club tournaments, potentially some BFLs in this thing, see how it does in those bigger 100+ boat tournaments on bigger bodies of water, and then having fun in general. This thing, and there's my other boat. As you can see, size-wise, we're talking a big difference. You got that little tiny jet on it and that little bit of space. So yeah, now I can have more than one person and my dog on the boat with me and be comfortable. So follow along, stay tuned, like, subscribe for more what is to be a lot more content on this boat, and a lot more fish catching and fun coming soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Kyle with The Current, and I'll catch you soon for sure. Peace out.